segment is about the billboard campaign that we started in 2014 in partnership with Clear Channel Outdoor. Clear Channel approached us and said, "We offer billboard space for whatever you want for the cost of putting up the billboard, which is about $100 a billboard. It'll stay up as long as we don't sell the space." So we tried to figure out what was the best use of that, and we decided that we worked on a campaign that has become the Your City, Your Police effort. The billboards feature officers in uniform, but also a personal photograph of them. And the initial run of these billboards was 3 officers who were born and raised. You can tell Lori whatever you want. Madison Caesar, his great football photo was in there.
Because I have the camera.
She's got the camera. Are you live streaming? She's live streaming, yeah. Oh, so it's up and out there.
Now, police officer. We place those billboards in the neighborhoods they grew up in and work in today. And the first phone call we received about them was, you know what, I saw this billboard and I don't remember what it said, and I don't really remember the name of the officer, but I remember seeing it and realizing that person grew up in this neighborhood and now they're protecting it. And I think that's really cool. And that was for me, that was a home run, because that's the message we're trying to convey. We've expanded it since. We've had a number of officers that want to be out there to show people that they're not just a uniform. They're a member of the community, they're a member of a sports team, they grew up in a different environment. Do we have that up there? This has been part of the effort that we are continually engaging in, which is to show officers as human beings. Some people, you know, we have to explain that to them, that there is a heartbeat behind this.
The laws need to change.
And there's a real human and a member of the community, and people that have a variety of backgrounds. We've used military folks. That's Brianna Paisley, who's a little kid with a police dog. Now she's a grown-up and a police officer. Jessica, running track. Kyle Green, right in this neighborhood, Pier Park Little League. Now he's working this neighborhood. This is the kind of effort we're doing to show people who might not run into these folks, who's protecting them and who's living and working in their communities. The Your City, Your Police has expanded to a lot of other things we're doing. In the next segment, the final video I'll show you is a series called Behind the Badge. And this version of it, we've done 2 this year. We have more slated. We hope to do 1 a month, but some goals take a little more time than we had hoped. This is ECIT Officer Jason Jones.
And there was a woman in downtown Portland. I was a Phase 5 in downtown, and she was going around smashing windows of cars. And so I knew that there was a mental health component, but I was looking first and foremost at the criminal mischief element, the criminal side of it. And so I took her to jail for smashing all of the windows on these cars. And a few years ago, she was actually arrested on that warrant. The warrant had been in the system for 10 years. And she was brought back to Multnomah County from some other place. And as I was reading the reports, I was thinking to myself, this woman was mentally ill. This woman should have been hospitalized. And she was in clear crisis as I was reading through my report. And I just didn't have the training, I didn't have the knowledge or the insight to go about that call a different way. And I pointed that out to the district attorney and actually recommended, having been 10 years later, that this case be dismissed. And he actually agreed. But just, for me, that was a real sort of an eye-opening experience and a wake-up call, and how we really, so how I've grown personally, and also, how we've changed in the criminal justice system as well. I can remember when we first started, there were far fewer officially designated mental health calls that we responded to. They were always there, but we just weren't necessarily recognizing them or trained to recognize them. It's interesting, I hear officers say there seem to be so many more mental health calls now, And I think what it is we know what we're looking at. We understand the behavior, and we didn't necessarily understand it before, not to the degree we do now. We're able to look at these calls through a different lens. I think the police bureau is sort of a microcosm of society in dealing with all of the social issues of the day. And I think that society is becoming more aware of mental illness, and there's a greater understanding and appreciation for mental health and behavioral health than there ever was before. That's nice. That's nice. Well, good. Well, I hope your knee is okay. That knee right there, I hope it's okay. Which hospital are you going to? Emmanuel. Well, good luck with that. And I work around here, so you'll probably see me around. I'm Jason Jones. Here, I'll give you a business card. You want a business card?
Put in a good word for me.
You want me to put in a good word for you? Well, I will do that. There you go. All right? Take care. As corny as it sounds, I like helping people. It's why I signed up for this job. I get the opportunity to help people in crisis, and what a better way to do that than actually be able to talk to them and show them that we as police officers are there to help. We're not something to be feared, but rather we're a resource, that we're peacekeepers, and we're able to help them through their time of crisis, despite some of these intimidating tools that I wear on my vest and my hip. And it's just one of those things that, as a police officer, different officers have different skills, different interests, and one of mine is just working with people that need help and are in crisis. I've just always been drawn to those kind of calls, and I enjoy going through those calls and learning and growing as an officer and developing new skills. I feel very, very fortunate to get to be up here and get to be a police officer in Portland. It might sound corny, but 651.
So that's what we call a virtual ride-along. Not everybody's able to go on a ride-along, and not everybody's willing to, but these short films are an opportunity for people to see inside that car and to experience, at least for a short while, riding with a police officer and talking about why they do the job and seeing how they interact with people. And as I say, we have a few more slated this year. We have lots of officers interested, which is amazing for us to have people willing to put themselves out there, because these will go on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they'll get shared, they'll get seen worldwide, and that officers are willing to do that's great for us to be able to share these stories. In closing, this all the things you've seen here today are one part of the community engagement strategies. We can't engage with people simply through Twitter and Facebook and the internet, we know that. But these efforts are showing you the ways officers are engaging with the community, and I look forward to hearing feedback later on how we can improve this process. Next up is Commander Chris Uehara, who will discuss some of these efforts.
So I'm cognizant of the time right now, so I'm going to modify my presentation a little bit. My name is Chris Uehara. I'm the commander of North Precinct here with Portland Police Bureau. And what I was going to do tonight was talk about community engagement and outreach and what that looks like. And my presentation consisted of talking about community-driven partnerships, citizen-driven partnerships, police-initiated partnerships, and then the partnerships that we have with our mental health community, other governmental agencies and partners, and then the effort that we're doing around youth. Part of what I was going to do was talk about each specific area and then drill down and ask one of our partners to come up and to actually talk to you and tell you their perspective of what the working relationship has looked like with the police officers that they've worked with. But given the time constraints, I think people need to want to get to the microphones, and so what we're going to do is modify it a little bit and ask some of our partners to make some statements to everyone here tonight about the working relationship that they have had with us, and invite the public to come up and make some comments also.
So we have the microphones on each side, and we're ready to start taking our public comment. Okay, we've got an overflow crowd. So who's going to line up? We're ready. 2 minutes.
I'll let you know. I have a timer. I'll let you know we've got 1 minute, 30 seconds, and let's keep it rolling to make sure everybody gets a chance.
So we'll go from one side to the other, okay?
Portland, and I'm here to provide comments about my work with the Portland Police Bureau. Leadership Portland is a program for Portland Business Alliance members that provides exposure to a wide range of critical issues affecting the Portland region, with a goal of developing community leaders prepared to get involved in solving these issues. This is a 9-month program, and it provides program days devoted to increasing participants' awareness of how business, government, and community sectors work together to achieve common goals. The program provides a forum for quality discussion and interaction with a network of other government, business, and community leaders. The Portland Police Bureau has been an important partner for us, as one of my program days is devoted to public safety topics. Our interactions and experiences with all the Portland police officers and command staff have been very positive. The 36 Leadership Portland class members go on individual police ride-alongs with officers to see police work firsthand. And I will tell you, they always come back with a much higher respect for the work these officers do. The Chief of Police has set aside time to personally debrief the class to gather feedback about their experiences on these ride-alongs. And if you talk to any of the 400 Leadership Portland alumni, the police ride-along has always been one of their most memorable experiences. In addition, for the last 2 years, we've added mental health issues to our program agenda and have had a very popular panel discussion with Lieutenant Cliff Bacigalupi from the Bureau's Behavioral Health Unit and the partners in the criminal justice and mental health systems they work with. We have developed very good relationships with the officers in the Bureau and appreciate their participation in our program. And through these efforts, the Leadership Portland classes have become very much more aware of the challenges confronting police officers. Thank you.
My name is Roy Pittman. I'm a coach. I'm talking about the Z-Man Wrestling Tournament. A wrestling tournament that hosts 600 kids throughout the state of Oregon, 100 policemen doing all of the work. This is an opportunity for young people to see policemen in a different light. Will this make a difference? I don't know. Did they make a difference at the Z-Man tournament? Yes. It's been going on for 6 years. Had over 3,600 kids involved, and they are from all over. And the police have, the chief on down, have assisted us in this endeavor with the money going to help kids go to college, go to prep schools in the area. The youth is where it's at. In this meeting, it's not what they say, it's what you hear. It's what are you going to lead? And that's what we need to do. Thank you.
Mr. Mark, I'm one of the campus pastors for City Bible Church, and I've had the wonderful privilege of working very closely with the police department for the last couple of years. One of my privileges have been to be involved in doing many ride-alongs, 30, 40 different ride-alongs. and seeing many different of the officers up front on the street actually working out some of the situations that have been talked about today. And I'm very encouraged with what I've seen, not only just in this meeting, but also on the street with the officers in crisis situations, driving around, not just waiting for a particular issue to deal with, but actually going out of their way to look for ways in which they could serve and help people in need. One of the ways that we've been able to partner with them is through strategic partnerships with large initiatives in our city. One being a thing called Little Love Christmas, where we serve over 6,000 kids just in one location. We had 40 different officers serving all day at that particular event. Also working with the youth services with all the different campuses in the schools. Had the wonderful privilege of working with them on the schools, with the students. And I just want to, I know that you guys get a lot of challenges in the media, and I just wanted tonight to honor our honors due to Portland Police for all that you do, for sacrificing your lives. You guys do.
Until the laws change.
Great. Put your hands together.
Killing with impunity by the police will continue.
Why are we here then? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, what are we here for? Might as well just go home. There's no fighting, there's no illegal use of force. We don't have no fight.
Yes, I'm Robert Richardson. You set it up. Yep, you used the force and you set it up. This is not a good start. Not at all. Yes, it's out of order, and so are you. Out of line. Yes, I'm Robert Richardson, the chair of the African American Advisory Council and a member of the Z-Man Foundation. I know that certainly over the last 16 plus years of engagement with the police department, and it has had those times that were very dark. But there's been home runs that have been hit a number of times in regards to the relationship that we've had. Certainly one of the things that comes to mind is an ex-gang member who graduated from Western Oregon University that certainly engaged himself to go through the course, and a lot of the support that came financially as well as being able to set up some things for speaking engagements came from the Berkeley Police Department. I've been through 6 chairs, and certainly I have been through 6 chief of police. I personally, and only speaking for myself as a person who's been in this city, is that we've had a lot of things that have went very well. There are things that we need to engage. This is about going forward. It is about getting better. And certainly the work of anyone that does is going to have some hindrances somewhere. But I come in the wholeheartedness of to say that the fact that we've engaged in the process and it will open up the door and opportunities for officers and community members to engage themselves on a higher level. I realize that the man that is engaged in this city, there's no secret about the disparity of officers of color. And certainly we want to engage and serve to myself, to those officers that have put their lives and put their freedoms and their abilities on the line, and you have been one of a small number of people. I hope and pray that we do have a way that we will be able to come away from this meeting, and they'll need to come forward, that we'll have a better outlook. Yes, there have been a lot of things that have occurred, but I still believe that the best is yet to come.
Good evening. I'm Kyle Camber. I'm the Civilian Executive Director of the Portland Police Sunshine Division. The Sunshine Division is a separate 501c3 organization and partners with the Police Bureau. I work alongside a Portland police officer who is assigned to us daily. The Sunshine Division was started by Portland police officers more than 90 years ago. For the past 9 decades, we've delivered emergency food boxes via the Police Bureau, and also since 1923, Portland police officers have helped distribute hundreds of thousands of holiday meals, which still continues to this day. Fast forward 90 years later, and we're now a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week emergency food and clothing provider. People can obtain emergency food 3 ways. Come directly to us, obtain a food box through an officer at any of the precincts in Portland, or obtain a free referral card and bring it to Sunshine Division from an officer. To my knowledge, we are the only food relief charity that is partnered with a law enforcement agency in the country. We're also the only agency where within minutes a person in need can obtain a box of food from a police officer. In addition to food, we provide free clothing. We also have a program called Izzy's Kids that pairs police officers with nearly 500 kids throughout the city year-round. Those kids get a unique one-on-one shopping experience where many of them have never had proper school clothes, and a police officer takes them shopping at a local department store. What is unique about us is that we're a charity that works to match people in crisis with free resources, but we work with officers and detectives who call us to help domestic violence victims, witnesses, child abuse victims, elderly, and disabled, and more. In one recent case, we received a call from the Youth Services Captain regarding a witness to a homicide. Detectives found this woman and her children sleeping on the floor. Once relocated, Sunshine Division worked with the police officers and our corporate partners to get food and clothing and furniture for this family.
They were invited by the CRC.
Portland police killed a permanent welfare check. They did not find themselves accountable in any way. People are dying as a result of illegal use of force. You want to hear from the public?
Yeah. That's right.
What a bullshit!
With the PR ones at the end. Enough PR.
You're late with the public comment. Let's stop and change. Con job! That's what this is. It's a con job!
It's a
This is
show.
by the police for the police. If you want to know a police department, 120 seconds, we're going to make it 126. I want to contribute 3 cents to Kitty. Right, Joe? If people on the right road for 15 minutes, is that okay? Now, start now. Public comment.
If those people that are yelling and screaming want to take the time and the opportunity to come up to the microphone, please come up to the microphone. But we're all here to try to respect everyone's time. So can we please agree to allow people to have the time to talk?
Oh, I thought you wanted like the real people. Oh, okay.
Obviously, the public is okay. So let's go for, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's go for 15 minutes, and if that's enough, we'll go from there. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay, my son was Brad Morgan, and he was shot and killed 3 years ago. And I think the cops should be accountable for their actions and help the family that they can't.
I hope everybody understands. My son is killed by a parent.
Brad Morgan, rest in peace. Rest in power.
And this is Portland Action with the Scholarship Foundation. After the tragic death of Officer Martinelli in 2008, fellow Portland police officers and the community came together to work on the Foundation. The foundation supports through scholarships economically disadvantaged high school students. The Portland Police Bureau has been instrumental in the success of the foundation and our community engagement programs. Currently, 1/3 of Portland Police Bureau members, from officers all the way to command staff, donate funds to the foundation. To this date, the contributions have totaled $203,000. The students who are selected for the Z-Man scholarships have demonstrated commitment to public service and leadership in their communities. To further these qualities, each student is matched with a mentor from the Portland Police Bureau. This relationship flourishes through one-on-one interaction and group activities. Thus far, 44 deserving students have been awarded scholarships and mentors. Many of these relationships have flourished past high school and even college. Just yesterday, we learned that a former Z-Man scholar, Zarina Mustafa, was elected student body president at Spelman College, and we're very proud of that of her. It is the mission of the foundation to provide students with access to educational opportunities, instill in them a lifelong commitment to community. This mission would not be attainable without the dedication and efforts of many fine members of the Portland Police Bureau who contribute every day, both financially and with their time, to the success of the foundation and our students. Thank you.
My name is Teresa Rickford. I'm with Dumpster Portland. I'm looking at this survey, and one of the questions I'm asked, what do you think of the PPB's plan for engaging the community? I think that it was a good plan, but I think that I'm disgusted by what I see here today because it's out of line. You have people in this room who have dealt with police brutality and excessive force within their own families. And what I walked into was a public relations opportunity for us to see how great you guys are, how fine and outstanding you are in our community, that you have terrified. You have terrified our kids to the point when you call them and say that they're not snitching. They're not coming to the police for help because they're afraid of the police. They're sitting out here and they're running the streets, they're catching the buses, they're getting beat up, they're getting killed, and they will not call you for help because they're afraid of you. You have created a terrorism in our communities. You have terrorized us. For the entire time that I've been alive, for 44 years, I've been terrorized in this community, and I haven't seen anything get better. Now, when we sat up there and I told our community to come out here, we thought that they were going to have a chance to use their voices to make a difference. But you guys got everybody in line so that they can say shit that sounds good. Fuck y'all! Fuck y'all!
My name is Mike Rosso. I work for the Portland Parks Bureau as the Northeast Maintenance Supervisor. I collaborate with police to curb antisocial behavior that occurs in our parks, especially in my portfolio of parks in Northeast, especially around Holiday Park. The police are actively involved in the monthly Lloyd District public safety meetings, along with other district agencies, neighbors, and businesses. The police do good work to help respond to the neighborhood issues, especially in proximity to Holiday Park. They're quick to respond to calls for service and subsequent patrols to reduce crimes that occur near and in the park, such as illegal drinking, drug use, graffiti, and vandalism. The success, we've had a lot of success in the last year. The Parks Bureau has had some programming in the park to activate it for families and children and adult users, and it's made possible through the integral coordination that we've had with the Police Bureau. We've had an increase in women and children visitors to the park, and that's allowed for an increase in sense of safety for Holiday Park. The Police Bureau are dedicated to the neighborhood and the community, and I believe that they create safety for the citizens of Portland.
I think the citizens create the safety for the citizens.
Hi, my name is Kenny Paulson. Many of you don't know who I am now, but soon you will. I am now a candidate for Board of Directors of Mount Blue Community College, Zone 5. Student safety and inclusion is of utmost importance and concern. If I'm elected, I will push to have the members of the COAB who helped organize this event put a similar event in the Gresham area. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Suzanne Hayden. I'm the Executive Director of the Citizens Crime Commission, and I'm here this evening to speak about the Portland Police Bureau's community outreach and engagement efforts over this past year. I want to speak to the establishment of the dedicated training facility that the Portland Police Bureau has, and they put a call out to citizens to come and serve on a training advisory council just over 2 years ago, and I signed up to do that along with close to 45 other community members. The Police opportunity during that service to observe multiple trainings that the Police Bureau conduct for their officers. We went on ride-alongs, we watched in-service and advanced academies, and members of this Training Advisory Council were also given information about innovative police technologies, their bureau policies, use of force reports, and so, you know, being a former prosecutor, I felt like I knew police work and I knew about police training, but I was really could not fully grasp the complexity of the police work until I served on this council. I didn't understand the depth and the breadth of the training that these officers who protect and serve our community go through. And I found the officers to be, in the training division, to be very generous with their time, their expertise, and very interested in the community's input. So I believe the Police Bureau's outreach and engagement with this issue has been successful. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me? Yes. So is there a way to make sure that the speakers for this mic work as well as that mic? My name is James Lopez Erickson. I'm a resident here in the Portsmouth neighborhood. Been living here since 1994 in Inner Northeast and North Portland. Now I want to acknowledge my privilege as a white male in this community. In 2001, I rear-ended a police car, and that incident ended with them telling me to have a nice day, drive away. So I want to begin by acknowledging my privilege, and also in being able to talk about the different perceptions that community members can have within the same neighborhood about police engagement. If you're a person of color, if you're a person perceived as someone who's homeless, if you're someone who's perceived as transgender, your experiences within the community are much different than if you're tall, white, male like myself. So I'm coming here to acknowledge and advocate for people like my wife and other community members who are undocumented that continually and daily face harassment within the community. We had an hour of propaganda today coming into this meeting that should have began with community testimony. I don't need to recognize the humanity of police officers. Everyone in this room has someone that they know, a family member that's a police officer. What we need to see is the humanity within those who are being mistreated within our community. We need to see a video of the faces of those who are being mistreated within our community, who have been shot and killed unarmed. And our community, our neighborhood needs a moment and an opportunity to effectively mourn those people.
Good evening. I'm Bill Barr, Chair of the Citizen Crime Commission. The Crime Commission is made up of community leaders mobilizing citizens to reduce crime, improve civility, and strengthen communities. I'm here this evening to speak about some of our work with the Portland Police Bureau. The Crime Commission values our relationship with the officers and leaders of the Portland Police Bureau and work closely with them on several public safety initiatives this past year. One of those initiatives was an effort to improve community conversations around respect and civility. The Crime Commission hosted a civility summit in November, attended by 100 residents, business owners, homeless youth, and members of the law enforcement justice community. Portland Police, led by then Central Precinct Commander, now Assistant Chief Bob Day, were active participants in this summit, including a number of walking beat officers assigned to central downtown and inner east side areas of the city. Sergeant Rick Galan was a very compelling speaker about the relationships he and the officers were building with the community, including businesses, residents, and people living in the streets on the streets of Portland. The individual officers participated in roundtable discussions about respect, civility, and their desire to serve and protect the community. We found the officers to be earnest, respectful, and compassionate. The officers who participated in this event had the opportunity to share impact on the attendees.
One of the most amazing aspects of the evening came when Sergeant DeLon told the attendees about the loss of grant funding for a Janus Youth Street Outreach program serving homeless youth, and how devastating that was for street officers to lose that resource to help youth. The attendees responded to the story, and many provided enough funding to maintain the program. Based on our experiences with these officers and stories we heard, we believe having Portland police officers on walking beats contribute to better police and community relations. Thank you for the opportunity to address the group.
Hi, first I just want to acknowledge that this is really stressful, and I invite everyone to just, with me, just to take a deep breath. I know I need it. My name is Christy Jameson, and I am an ambiguous COAB member at this point, and I am a person that was appointed to the COAB as the representative of the Commission on Disability, and a person with lived experience of mental illness that I speak about frequently and run an organization for and by persons with lived experience of mental illness that have a lot of experience with public safety officers. And just as a side comment, I hope that my ambiguous status is resolved as soon as possible as far as who can remove someone from the COAB. I'm an invested member. I resigned from the Commission on Disability. I did not resign from my deep investment in the COAB and this important work. What I'd like to present to the Police Bureau as a form of a question is that public safety obviously includes the Fire Bureau and other members of our public safety community. And there is a separate settlement agreement on behalf of persons with the deaf and hard of hearing community. And in that settlement agreement, there is supposed to be not only training and a policy, but what we call an iPad project that allows for police officers and the Fire Bureau to interact with persons through a video relay on an iPad project. And the Fire Bureau, I think that you guys have, and the Police Bureau has until June 30th to comply with this mandate. And the Fire Bureau is already on board with that, and the Police Bureau to date has not started that project. And I'm hoping that someone can get started from the Police Bureau as soon as possible, or as a police member can speak about why there's a delay.
My name is Karen Hebert, and I have the privilege to work for the Boys and Girls Club of Portland, but I'm also here as a concerned citizen, and my heart breaks for the emotion in this room. I will just say we have the Boys and Girls Club right here on this campus, and I see the challenges that happen in this neighborhood and the interactions, and all I can tell you is, from my perspective, I see the police coming to our club and to our staff, trying to figure out how to bridge the differences and how to meet the people in the neighborhood where they are, and to help them, and to not engage in violence and some of the aggressive behavior that we're concerned about. So that's what I have experienced. I also used to run a group of radio stations, and the police came to me wanting to have us help them with a recruitment effort. There was a sincere need on their part to diversify and find and get more people on the police force who can meet community members where they are and deal with them with the differences. And so I was struck by the really incredible efforts around that. There are challenges out there, but I see them sincerely really trying to improve, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura Vanderlyn. I am a neighbor. I live in Vancouver, Washington. I am a concerned citizen. I hear a lot of police, I guess, trying to say that they are nice, that they are human beings. However, we cannot come together as a community when there's something in our system that says it's okay to kill with impunity. I'm sorry, but police that kill and use too much force, are not getting punished. And mothers are being left with wondering why are there children being killed and nothing is being happened? Nothing is happening. Their life doesn't matter. Their life as a mother doesn't matter. I'm concerned as a grandmother for my grandchildren, for my children, for my friends' children, and for myself. I used to not be afraid of police. I am now. Today I am. Every time I see a police stop and they're on the side of the road with young people, young men or young women, I'm scared for them and I'm scared for the police because I know when police kill, their life is no longer the same. No life is better when that happens. No life is better when that happens. I further want to say, today I saw a post from the mayor, and Deanna was in that post also with the sign that says, everybody matters. Everybody doesn't matter until Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Brown, and I've been a resident in Portland since over 25 years. I'm not an experienced speaker, so bear with me, but I feel deeply concerned about the Portland Police Department, the facts and the records and the violations against myself, mainly before I have the statistics that show the racial profiling of our honored Black citizens in this city. I understand that 44% of the stops are made to Black citizens when that community represents 70% of our Portland community. I find that just horrifying. And the deaths, I find horrifying. This evening, I understand we're here to speak to the possibility of camera surveillance by the police officers. As I understand that issue, to me it seems fundamentally essential that any such program is to be considered that the information recorded by those cameras is directly feeded to an independent agency and server, because the problem is there's a lack of trust regarding the systemic problem inside the Portland Police Bureau. So it needs to go outside the Bureau. The other thing is, if there should be, again, because we need outside, independent observation, those cameras should come on at the beginning of each and every shift and go off only at the end of each and every shift. There is no voluntary subjective choice by the independent officers. That way we know we're seeing observed conditions throughout the workday as you serve the population, your population, and that they are independently retained and available for transparency. Thank you.
I'm Sharon Mary Smith, and I'm the Executive Director for Oregon's leading Racial and Social Justice Foundation, MRG Foundation. We are here in the room because I'm a daughter of this community. I'm a sister and a mother who knows a good fight when I see one. I am a legacy child. My mother, my parents, my friends, so many of us in this community keep coming back for the possibility that our lives not only matter, but our expertise and our ability to make change will be a part of the system of change. So coming into the room, this is our room, our space, and I am a child who knows what it means to have historical harm and current harm by those sworn to protect and serve. All of us, every one of us, no matter color, origin, sexuality, our geographic location, our zip code, and often, too often, that doesn't happen. I could be so mad and angry that I, too, could turn on you instead of to you and ask you, what about this moment between the scripted speeches and the presentation is going to incorporate new culture into the heart of this moment? While it was federally decreed, and I won't forget it was a sanction, this is an opportunity moment to change culture, to shift a system, to get it right, stumble forward, fall forward. My bad little mama used to say that if you're going to do something, fall down, get up, and do it again. And I'm willing to fall down, get up, and help us move this police department in this city, not Ferguson, not Staten Island, here in good old City of Roses, Portland, to a new day and a new time where we are honored, respected, and our lives are safe because serve and protect is really embedded in the police department of Portland. Anybody with me, for us, by us, all of us, right now, doing this. I'm down.
Hello, I'm Richard Souls. I'm just an activist here, peace activist, downtown every Friday, actually, trying to bring consciousness about peace. But I also belong to a group here called the Eastside Democratic Club. We get various speakers every month to find keep up. It's a group of activists. And at one time, I took a movie, for this thing, and it was the first time in years in the history of this club that I ever took a movie. But I looked at the movie, I reviewed the movie, and convinced the agenda committee that they would like it, and I provided a speaker so that they could ask questions about the movie afterwards. I watched this thing tonight, this PR piece put on by the police, and that would have been rejected. It was too one-sided. And I didn't hear any criticism, any speakers. We have a meeting here right now where the police have provided us with all these various things they've done. They're diverse, they're helping people. But where's the counterpart? People in charge of this meeting. And it's when we conduct a meeting, Eastside Democratic Club, we have a person speaks for, a speak and speaks against. We're not afraid of that. This time, it was just totally one-sided. And I'll tell you what the side is, folks. It's the oligarchs. That's when you ask who do the police serve and protect, they protect the oligarchs. That's it. And when I heard the first speaker up here was some kind of, I don't know, Portland Business Alliance, I don't know what it was. It's the oligarchy. Where is she now? She did her job. She's out of here. It's almost like she was here on a contract, paid by the minute. I'd be ashamed if I were you people putting on this meeting. You talk about protect and serve. Out of time, I was going to mention the horses too. I wouldn't protect anybody with mounted horses.
My name is Roberto Lobato. I'm Chicano. I belong to the Oregon Progressive Party, Individuals for Justice, and Justice for Keep Notice. And I testified before the federal judge, Michael H. Simon, and I mentioned to him in written testimony and orally that there was the use of body cams, and now I feel like it was my bad because those body cameras used nationally are now being abused. Do not let these police have those cameras. Also, I believe Portland has become a system of apartheid, and the Portland Police Bureau is the enforcer of that system. The shooting of Keep Notice was an assassination, in my opinion, and you can also, and I would say the same about the shooting of Aaron Campbell, because that sharpshooter took off his earpiece and was not on command in accordance with the way the system is supposed to work. I just believe that you need to dismantle the Portland Police Bureau and start all over again.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sharon Maxwell, and I'm the co-leader for the community outreach for the COAB. And we want to say thank you to the public and everyone that is here this evening. We also want to make sure that at this hearing, if you're a public member, we want you to come and tell your story. That's why we're having the hearing. And the police were supposed to share what they've done. And we feel you, we feel your pain, but also we have to follow the process. And yes, I'm feeling just what you felt when I seen all of the good things that supposedly they've been doing. But as someone who is native to Portland, born and raised, and have a lived life experience of the treatment and the harassment and the racial profiling and the destruction of community here and young people's lives, we want to make sure that we really see police reform. And so I want to make sure if you're a public member and you need some help testifying, you want someone to help write it out for you so you can say your piece or whatever, we're here for you. So COAB members, could you please raise your hand so people know where you're sitting, so that the public can know who we are and that we are working for you. We were selected to make sure that we hold the police accountable and we see true change. Thank you for coming.
Hi, my name is Natasha. I'm a senior at Roosevelt High School. After hearing the brief testimonies that everybody's been saying, no offense to everybody what's been talking about, but it seems a lot of these programs and new ideas that we're coming up are repeats, and they've already proven to be little or no effect, otherwise we wouldn't all be here today. And no offense to the other part of you guys in here, but you guys are way, way much older than I am. And it's sad to say, but my generation is going to soon be a generation taking over. So I would like to know, why are we not thinking about new ideas to build my generation so we don't have to have these problems in the future? Whereas, why are we build up our kids so they can learn how to protect themselves? So that's my question to you guys.
I'm Dan Handelman. I'm with Portland Cop Watch. We've been doing our work here in the community for 23 years. We publish a newsletter. And I just want to preface this by saying you asked 7 questions and are giving us 2 minutes to talk. That's not adequate. And I share the sentiment of everybody who feels like the clock was run out by the Bureau. This is not the first community forum where this has happened, but it should be the last. All right? We don't want that happening again. And COAB and COCL, I hope you're listening to the community. So if the police want to build our trust, they should do things like go on homeless immersion so they know what it's like to be a homeless person, instead of telling us to go and ride along with the police. They should not tell people when they ask, am I free to go? They shouldn't say, oh, you're one of those, which happened to me. They should appreciate people standing up for their rights. I have to use this time because the Citizen Review Committee, which is supposed to be reviewing overseeing police misconduct cases, is having their ordinance changed sometime on May 13th. The Community Oversight Advisory Board hadn't had a chance to look over to see if it matches with the DOJ agreement that we're all here about, the use of excessive force by the police. And unless they discuss it at their meeting coming up on the 9th, the vote on the 13th will be the day before the next meeting after that. So I just feel like these bureaucracies are lining up to stop the community from having the voice that we need. And we have to stop that and we have to change it. Another thing that the Bureau can do, for instance, the Bureau is putting out their directives, what's called their directives, the ones that are out this month for review. We only get 30 days to go through, I would say, probably 45 pages of general orders to find out what they changed. We have to go through it line by line because they refuse to put out a piece of paper that says these are the changes we made since last time. So the Bureau really needs to do a better job of letting us know where they're changing and getting the word out when those things are available and when things are happening that the community cares about. Thank you.
My name is Troy Kyles, and I'm a Korean vet. I had 2 brothers in Korea in 1950 and 51. I had 1 brother killed at age 17 and had 1 brother killed at age 19. My oldest brother brought my other brother's remains back, and there were 3 other guys on the ship doing the same thing. But what I want to say here, I'm a volunteer. I am a traffic specialist volunteer. I volunteer 7 days a week. 7 days a week volunteering. And I've gotten some help from the police department. If you guys don't want to have a police department, it's the fabric of our country. We won't have a country without our police. We wouldn't even have a country. People wouldn't want to come here because we kill them before they get to the border. So police is part of the fabric. Police is part of our heritage. I have a nephew. He's an ophthalmologist. He works for the 1990 in San Francisco. I had an experience as a policeman. I was a policeman at age 17. And another policeman tried to kill me. He pulled his 45 out and cocked it. But he wasn't white. Right, that's all.
Hi, my name is Lori Palmer, and my son Jasmine Moore was shot 4 times on January the 11th in this community. So I'm standing up here as a mother. My experience with the Portland police so far has been very negative when it comes to handling the case with my son. They have not interviewed the guy that shot my son. They know who it is. They actually asked me to give up my niece as a snitch first before they interview him. So my whole thing is, you people in this community, until you guys start having a voice in regards to, you see all these obituaries? These are obituaries of people in our community that have died. I am putting these together because I have just created Go Get Your Child. That means that us, the people in this community, need to come together and go out there and get our child. Portland police is not going to go get them. Portland police, they're not going to work with us to solve the crimes. It's just like this kid is out there with a loaded bullet gun in his hand. He is responsible for 3 different incidents, and he's out there with a loaded gun in his hand. So whose child is going to be next? Whose child is going to be next? While we all sitting up in meetings, having meeting after meeting, when the blood is in the street and nobody's going in the street, and then me as a parent, when I'm asking for help, the Portland police is not helping me at all. And my son, this is my son, Jasmine Moore. I have to go to a Manual Hospital and look at him like this every day. While I know that the person that shot my son is running around here free, getting ready to shoot another African American child. Where's the justice in that? Where is the justice in it?
Everybody's frustrated with the 2-minute time limit, and if we do get through the lines and have extra time, people will be able to come up and speak again if they have more to say.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. What you're hearing tonight is a community that's frustrated. You're hearing a community that's frustrated because this isn't the first time we've been invited to come out and give our viewpoint and perspective and had to sit through an hour and a half of a PR presentation. It's not the first time we've been asked, really, what is it that you want? And then you limit the time for us to tell you the 2 minutes. And so there's a disconnect between what you say you want, which is build community engagement, and what you give the community the opportunity to provide. The frustration you heard is nobody came out here to hear the PR campaign from the police. We've heard it before, and we can go to the website if we want to see it. And in my time left, that woman that talked about the Boys and Girls Club out here, that's the same Boys and Girls Club that 2 Portland police officers thought it made sense to go to a home of a 10-year-old black child and arrest her and put her in handcuffs, put her in the back of a police car, take her downtown, fingerprint her, put her in a jail cell, and tell her mother to take the bus to go and get her. That's the same kind of nice officers that are working with our kids at the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Philip Wolf, and I'm a member of COAB. Today that I want to show you that I have a different hat on though. And I've experienced a lot of negativity with the police. I'm deaf, I've got a communication barrier. The police have failed to help me because my experience is just, it's terrible. I have heard you guys, and I'm with you. So I just want to remind everybody that we are here. We are here to listen to your concerns and your experiences and work with, I mean, the COAB is made up of all volunteers, 40 hours a week for 2 years. And we are trying to observe and change the policies here. That's why we're here to help. Are the police perfect? Clearly not. It needs to be improved. There's training. We all know that. It needs improvement. But give us time. It doesn't happen overnight. And so anyway, I just want to thank you again, and I really appreciate you sharing your valid and very important experiences with us. Thank you.
I'll see it in 2 minutes, because really, y'all on that. But I'm gonna tell you like this, we used to have officer friendlies, now we have officer killies. And I don't think it's right. We hear it now, neighbors against violence, we taking our streets back. Yeah, a blood got killed at my party, the first blood. And it just ain't been right since. So I have a 15-year-old son, and I'm not gonna just stand here and let the street, his homies, nobody take him away from me. So I stepped up, and we are Neighbors Against Violence. We just had a mother's brunch in memory of all their kids that, not just gang violence, just violence, period. You know what? I ain't got nothing to say. All right.
I'm Dave Harsky, minority partner at Consol Harsky and Mr. Wolf. I think community outreach, we admit, has a problem set before we can move forward. One of them is that police are beating, tasing, and shooting people who are incapable of responding to police commands, whether it's deaf, hard of hearing issues, epilepsy, whatever. You've got to start with a problem set that begins with the fact that the police have been lying for a very long time. They lie in after-action reports, they lie in grand juries, they lie to the city council during the ordinances that they get passed. So it's time for a community outreach plan that admits where the fault has occurred. You can't just jump to reconciliation without going through the truth. The impact statement, ultimately the training advisory council and community police relations committee put people with lived experiences on there, not just the police apologists. It's time now for item 159 in the agreement, which calls for the Portland Police Bureau to give broad public access to your data. And when we see it, we'll know that the racial profiling numbers have been booked for 15 years. It's time for you to take off the cloak of respectability and to admit that you failed in your oath to uphold the Constitution. It should be a shameful experience.
Two black male kids, 24 and 20, who are not felons. But you guys fail to realize that just because of the color of their skin, that you guys treat them bad. You guys are humiliating our kids, and it's not fair. You guys have to do something different. You have to do something different. And so I ask you to close your eyes, and when you see a death, look at a human life. Look at a life. Not the color of the person that got killed, but at a human life. Look at yourself and see, are you really upholding what you say you're upholding? Because if you are, you have a different effect out there in the streets instead of sitting there in your uniforms and pointing fingers at kids who are really trying hard to do something different. Everybody you look at that has the color of my skin is not a felon.
My name is Carolyn Kelly, and I wasn't going to get up and say something at first, but I do have some great concerns for to bring me on my busy work schedule, but I do have some things that I would like to say. And I'm from Church Networkers, and what we do is try to unite with the churches in the city of Portland to find solutions, and not just trying to come out and hammer you and tell you what you already know what is going down that's wrong. I like to speak into the hearts of men, because what I would really like to know is, what is the problem? Now, everybody is not perfect. Everyone is not perfect. And so what I'm saying, if you have the right kind of heart, I think we've gotten away from it, because it shouldn't be no one killing anyone's children. I have a lot of white friends, Mexican, Indian, it doesn't matter. But when it comes down to killing the children or killing your own people who you serve, that to me is a problem. It's a mental problem. It's an emotional problem. I'm wondering, the people who are hiring our police officers, are they really asking them the questions that they need to ask them? You have to hire people who have a heart for the people. And there's hidden agendas that people within the system, they know who the people they're hiring, the type of people that they're hiring, but they're not caring about it. But what goes around comes around in the world. So if you hire people that you know that have killer backgrounds or are prejudiced or whatever their problem may be, you hire them to deal with the system, and you're killing our youth off, and everybody knows it's not a secret. So the public are not dumb, and that's why they're angry. And so what I'm saying, what is it going to take? I wouldn't want police officers' children to start getting shot up because people start to retaliate, and that's the only thing that they know how to do. So as we're trying to work on solutions, we're trying to work with people with the hearts of the people. Well, that's not going to make a difference. But okay, but why isn't it making a difference? You know, we can't go around just killing people, and then you wonder why, okay, I'm African American, why the children are scared of the cops and why they run. Well, why were you running? Well, I would too if I was their age. So what I'm just trying to say, we can work on solutions, stop the lies, be real with the public is not dumb, and come up with some solutions, and work on those solutions.
Right on.
I'm going to try this again. My name is Shelley, and my son was shot and killed 3 years ago. His name was Bradley Morgan. He was on an elevator shaft. And all he wanted was to see his 8-month-old son grow up. He wanted to hold him. He wanted to come home. But I get a call at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, after he's dead. He was shot in the head on an elevator shaft. I didn't get a call from a cop or a friend. I got a call from the Oregonian, from Maxine Bullstein. How can someone with a 21-year-old son not being accountable on an elevator shaft, and he's dead, and I don't get respect? They have to be accountable for their actions. They need to know what they did wrong. They took a father, a son, and a big brother, my only son. I'm not going to have another son, but I have a 23-year-old daughter, but I can't say hi to my son, can I? I can't. There's no way I can bring my son back. Money ain't going to pay for everything. Money sure don't bring back a dead son.
Thank you, Shelley.
My name's Sarah. This is my first public speaking, so y'all excuse me. I'm with Race to Survive. It's a household activist group. I just want to say that I'm kind of disgusted by this hearing as well. There needs to be changes made, and nobody can deny that. You can't just shoo a problem away, whether it's houseless or racial or whatever the problem is. You can't just shoo it away or hope it goes away. I heard someone say that all we need is a little bit of time, but how much time do we need? Because we've been waiting for a long time for a change, and nothing's happening. And all we see is you guys sitting on your asses doing nothing. And that's really all I have to say.
All right.
Thanks, Dad.
My name's Jan Unruh, and I'm just a member of the community. Been here for about 20 years, and I'm close to tears right now because I've seen all of these cases where there's a kid that has been shot, like Kendra James. You know, she's, I don't know, driving her car, and she's stopped, and before it's all over, she's dead. She has 2 little kids, and it's just case after case after case. And what I want to impart to you is that I don't think that the police can ever have respect until the killing stops, until the abuse stops. If you can stop the killing, stop the abuse, then we can begin to make progress, to have some healing. But until then, we're not getting anywhere. That's the truth. We're not getting anywhere. And I think that we need something like they've done in Africa, like the Truth and Reconciliation system where, you know, we get out there and we talk about the people that have been shot and killed, like this woman whose son was killed. I have a son. I would be horrified if I lost his life. It would be gone to me forever. It's horrifying.
I'm Joe Smith. I'm a tall white guy, old tall white guy. I'm a former district attorney where I gained a great respect for the police. But my remarks are to the members of the COAB. I think it was fair for people to see the first hour plus, hour and a half of this evening as an orchestrated event designed to convince that the police department and the police were doing everything that they should, and they were doing well. It's extremely important for the COAB to remember that you exist because there was a finding that that was not true. That there is more that needs to be done.
Boom.
And until I admit that I am not doing as much as I should, I will never do more to get better. And so we pray that the police will acknowledge, with all the good things that they are doing, there is more to be done. And we're looking for solutions. I'm going to suggest one step that could be taken, that the police could perhaps convince the city council to take. In the judge's order, he says that the city is supposed to come in every year and just say how they're doing and report on it. And the city and the police have said, we don't want to do that. I give you one step that would be a big step towards establishing the trust that we need to begin. Say, hey, listen, we are willing to have you look at what we have done so that we will keep our trust.
District Court. Build trust.
Good evening.
Am I interrupting you?
No, you haven't interrupted me. I wasn't talking. So, however, you are correct. The city, in its asininity, has its city attorneys, people working to tell Judge Simon, we don't want to have to come in and tell you the truth. So like most people who've been to prison at least once, I almost never agree with a district attorney or former district attorney, but I think I just found one to agree with. The city needs to drop the idiotic appeal that's in the Ninth Circuit. And we do need to, you know, sometimes things only get half right. We had a miracle back in September. The Portland police stopped Tiger Rule, and they didn't kill him, they just tased him. So that was progress, that they didn't kill him. However, then the brilliant people employed by the Portland Police Department have to complain about the judges. Daryl Turner, mouthpiece of the patrol officers, thinks it's bad when juvenile judges are concerned about children being tased. He wants the judges to just shut up and let the Portland police tase all the teens they want. So that's what the Portland police should have done with their hour, is try to explain that insanity.
Hello, my name is Camille, and I am born and raised in Portland. And I have a very different experience because I am the daughter of 2 police officers, okay? And I'm a black woman. So, as a young person, what I'm seeing here is that nobody in this room is listening to each other, and that's a problem. Nobody feels like they're being heard, and there's a lot of tension in this room. And I'm not sure, as a young person, what is going to change if we're going to literally leave this room doing the way that we do and expect to accomplish anything. I'm concerned because as an older generation, my generation is looking to you all for help because my generation is getting killed, okay? And so I'm wondering, if we're going to sit in this room and talk to each other like this, what are we hoping to accomplish?
How are we talking to each other exactly? We're talking.
I don't have any answers, but I really hope that some of you do.
My name is Ohana, and I am the mother of 6. I've heard a lot of things tonight. Initially, I came here just to let you know that I have been fortunate enough to have a very positive response with the cops. I work at a tavern, so I have to call them because customers get out of hand. They come in, they talk them down, they help them get home. I have a few officers that come into my place of work before their shift to have coffee, to get to know the people that they're going to be dealing with before they have to deal with them. Just to see how they are, how their day is going. I have watched people that they have arrested come into my tavern and say, hey, I'm doing good. I haven't done drugs in this many days. Thank you for being there. So there are some out there that are really trying to make a difference. My 2 older boys got into a lot of trouble, and I once again was very fortunate with having officers who handled things appropriately. I still have 2 at home that are under the age of 18, and I pray to God that the officers that I've dealt with, if they ever, God forbid, they get in trouble, that they have these same officers to deal with. So I think right now, there's a lot of bad, and it needs to change. But we also have to have a little faith that there still are good people out there, and they're trying. The area that I'm in, the area that I'm, it's 105th and Sandy. It's Tony's Tavern. I welcome any of you down there at any time. I'm just saying there's good and bad. Just have a little faith. Keep working.
Until the laws change. Until the laws change. And police get...
I just want to be a cultural broker as an interpreter in the Latino community. Something very short. There's a lot of things that I could share, but I have a little grasshopper here with me, so I won't be able to focus and talk as much as I wanted it. But I did went to the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce a couple days ago at the Benson Hotel last Tuesday, and I felt an insult to have an FBI agent to be the keynote speakers and calling themselves a community group, a community organization. And I raised my questions to him, and I said, the Latino community, we are afraid of completeness. You know, we don't come to forums like this, we want to speak out, because culturally, we get killed in Mexico, we get shot. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in Mexico, so I did want to pass the flyers to the flea markets, to the Latino churches, and everywhere where I go, they were saying that the policeman is always outside of the neighborhood, or that they are outside of the restaurants, that they're outside. I don't know if you know that they're always outside there waiting for them to get in their cars and drive. As you know, many of the immigrant community are driving without a driver's license because there was this segregation laws that does not allow them. I would just finish saying that the presentation of the FBI of the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, it was very prejudiced. While they said that the priority number 1 was the terrorism, yet they were focusing on the gangs, and they had a picture of a black man from Eugene, huge picture in their presentation. And I have activists with torches. Anyway, you can go through what he did, but it was just very prejudiced. It doesn't help you when you, it doesn't help by you putting pictures of people of color in a negative way when you're talking about crime. Thank you.
Protect and serve. I am not a police officer.
have ever been in law enforcement with the exception of I'm a partial degree in criminal justice. I thank my young sister that was over here who discussed about how we are talking to one another. I would implore the Bureau to consider humanity before you nod off in this room, before you become completely numb to everything that is being said by the community. I implore you to become human once again and to feel the pain of this community. My name is Kimberly Dixon. I am the mother of Andreas Dixon, who was killed June 9th, 2013. Why is that significant? Why is that important? Why do I want you to consider being human and come back to humanity? Because I went back and looked at my son's crime scene photos in February. And I watched the light change in each photo that I went through, that I painstakingly stared at. So I could ask this question: why was my son left on the ground for 5 hours by himself? When I came on scene and told them I've already worked in the funeral industry, I've seen all that you could possibly see. I want to hold my son before his body changes. But there was no human there that could hear my cry. This city is hurting, and you've got to hear the pain and understand that if we do not administer some medicine to heal the emotions of this city, we are being destroyed from the inside. You want us to mask the pain, and we can't mask the pain. You are allowing infection to fester underneath. It's not because the city hates police. The community doesn't hate police. We hate what has been done by some people in power who have abused the power, and we want it to be fixed.
Right on.
That's what I hope you leave here with. We have an owie, and a Band-Aid is not going to work. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Matt and I'd like to expand on something that I was speaking with somebody else about earlier, and that was the whistleblowers within the police department and how badly they need our support and our protection. I would like to know that during this process that officers are being also encouraged to come forward and be part of the process to help us understand the inequities of the system. And as a community, I believe I'm safe enough in saying that we would have your back. Am I wrong, people? Would we have their back? Would we have their back?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's hear it. Come on, would we have their back? Well, that's all we're going to do. They won't come. Do we have their back? Yes! We want them to come forward, and we want to support them in making the changes that we all need.
Yes, my name is Randy Morgan, better known as Brad's dad. He's dead now. I won't be able to bring him back. What I would like to say is we need a lot of us people out there. Why engage with people with the mind when they may be ready to go already out in the holsters? Sorry. I don't believe we have a fair justice system. I've been through court. My issue has been through the grand jury, and a jury of 12, and the police were found innocent. They broke a couple laws. I believe they should pay the price the same as we have to pay the price. We get pulled over when we do the wrong thing. There's an issue on body cams. People are afraid of their rights being filmed in that. That may be all good, but there are such things as gun cams that could be used. No recording time required. Takes a picture of that incident at the time, tells the truth. We need the truth. It's one way to get it. I appreciate the Portland Police Bureau making my son Superman by the receipts that were put on his body. That says he was at Fred Meyer Interstate at 4:15. And the next one from Connects, a quarter mile away, that says he got there in a minute. That would be from Fred Meyer to Connects, a quarter mile away in a minute. That would be the sign for pain that would never happen.
Thank you.
Mi nombre es Marcelina Aguilar.
My name is Marcelina Aguilar.
Tuve una experiencia hace 8 días.
I had an experience a week ago.
Yo respeto a los policías.
I respect police officers.
Tuve mucho miedo.
I was very afraid.
A las 5:45 de la mañana
At 5:45 a.m.,
me hablaron que se estaban llevando el carro de mi hijo, la grúa.
I was called that a tow truck was taking away my son's car.
Me levanté y seguí la grúa diciéndole que se parara.
I got up and I followed the tow truck, asking him to stop.
Porque el carro tenía el sticker para parquearse en mi apartamento.
Because the car had the sticker to park at my apartment.
El de la grúa me insultó, le pegó a mi hijo.
The tow truck driver insulted me and hit my son.
Hablé a la policía.
I called the police.
La policía no nos hizo caso.
The police did not pay attention to us.
Le hizo caso al de la ambulancia, el de la grúa.
They listened to the tow truck driver.
Y me dijo que aprendiera más inglés porque no me entendía.
And he told me that I needed to learn more English because he didn't understand me.
Y que estaba yo en Estados Unidos y yo le hablé en inglés y sí me entendía él.
That I was in the United States, but I did speak to him in English and he did understand me.
Y que él no me entendía, que me fuera, si no él me iba a arrestar, que nos iba a arrestar a mí y a mi hijo, y ahora les tengo miedo al policía.
But that I should learn English better, that maybe he should arrest me and my son. And now I'm afraid of the police.
Él puchó a mi hijo, el policía.
The police officer pushed my son.
Y yo le dije que no lo puchara.
And I told him not to push him.
Y él me dijo que quién era yo.
And he said to me that who was I?
Le dije, soy su madre.
And I said to him, I'm his mother.
Dijo, vete de aquí o te arresto con tú y tu hijo. Y no los tomó en cuenta.
And he said, get out of here or I'm going to arrest you and your son. And he didn't pay attention to us.
Me vine llorando.
I came here in tears.
Tuve miedo que mataran a mi hijo con tanto que ha pasado de ver casos así.
I was afraid that they were going to kill my son after having seen so many cases like this.
Es el único hijo que tengo en este país.
He is the only child that I have in this country.
Y es el único que me apoya aquí. Y ahora no sé si tengo un problema, ya no voy a tener la confianza de llamar a la policía.
He's all that I have, and now I don't know. I don't trust. If I had a problem now, I don't know if I would call the police.
Hay mucho policía muy bueno y mucho policía muy racista.
There are many good officers, and there are many racist officers.
Y es todo lo que yo les puedo decir. Es todo.
And that's everything that I can tell you. That's everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jill Sutterson. I've been a resident of Portland for over
6 years. I moved here when I was pregnant with my daughter. And I also moved here when an act of racist violence occurred against a man by civilians. And I'm a white woman with white privilege. My daughter is a woman of mixed heritage, though very light. And I also have a dear loved one who looks like someone killed by Portland police in the last several years. Really, I think I'm here living in shock in a way, being born in 1968, the year that Dr. King was assassinated, that it's 2015 and we're still dealing with this to the extent that we are as a nation, as Portland. And so I have as much to learn. I really wanted to listen more. I decided to speak up because it's important to be here and to be honest about where I'm at. So I think that collectively as society we need to deal with racism. And I don't have a weapon. So I am a nonviolent person. I don't have the ability nor the intent to harm. And so I believe in that we need to stop the violence. So the police need to continue listening, and that we need to have this be a beginning. People should not be limited to 2 minutes, but I think there should be trauma healing funding provided to families who are victims of police violence. We already have unresolved trauma from slavery and from many other acts of racism that are ongoing in this nation. So I agree with the person that said we need in Portland and the states that we need a truth and reconciliation type commission. But I think first the violence needs to stop. So thank you for listening, and we just need to continue to listen to one another and figure it out together collectively. Thanks.
I've just been asked to make sure that everybody's aware we do have representation from the Department of Justice here, and meetings are being recorded.
I just want to say one more thing. If my son was alive, he'd at least try to make a difference for everybody. He was 21 years old. And he'll always be 21. You know, I can't bring him back. But we can stop the violence. If they would just help and be accountable for their actions.
Accountability.
No more paid leaves while they're being under investigation. They need to be accountable for their actions. And I'm sorry that I'm saying this over and over. But then I have an 8-month-old, 4-year-old grandson and a 23-year-old daughter. I'll never ever have my son again. So what are we going to do? Let cops shoot our children and then be told not by the cops that they were shot, but have the Oregonian call us and let us know. Where's the respect right there? I want to know who has the respect to call the mother of a child that's just been shot by a Portland cop in the head, laying on the roof. Who's gonna, they need to be accountable for their actions, and they need to call the parent if they shot their son. Use tasers, beanbags. What else can you use? Don't use deadly force. Use a damn beanbag or the stun gun, but don't use deadly force and have someone that doesn't have a child anymore to come home and say, "Hi, Mom." That's all.
I didn't get a chance to talk to Ms. Herschel Souls again. I read the grand jury reports back there in Ferguson, and one of the reports was kind of believable, and it was the other Darren Wilson, and his report just was not believable. Now, one of the things that the policeman supposedly said, by the other person, was that they were told, "Get on the sidewalk, nigger." Now, I don't think that's that unusual coming from a policeman. I think it might be almost commonplace. And you could get fired, I'm sure, if you were a greeter at Walmart. But as a policeman, it's just a matter of routine. They don't treat people with respect. I'd like to mention they're talking about, you know, a taser. I'm not in favor of tasers either. I see that as an excuse for the Portland police to torture people, to get them to do things that maybe they wouldn't otherwise do. I don't believe in torture. I don't believe in tasers. I think beanbags might be close to that. It's just a prelude till they get up to the opportunity to really use the deadly force. Thanks.
I'm Dan Handelman. I just want to make sure if anybody hasn't spoken, I'm speaking for the second time. I want to make sure people who haven't spoken get a chance too. And I'm with Portland Cop Watch. And I really want to shout out to the Morgans. I was at part of the trial. And it's really hard for parents, first of all, to lose a child before they pass away, because that's not supposed to happen. And second of all, to have to relive what happened to their son and then have the jury not find in their favor was very painful. And so I want to applaud their bravery. We've seen a lot of families that have lost loved ones. On my way here, I had to drive by the memorial to Dickie Dow, who was beaten down at the corner of Fenwick and Lombard. There's a little plaque there that you can see. The Portland Police Association moved their office in next door to that plaque. I don't know how many people know that. That's very, I find that very hard to swallow. We also had 2 recent shootings this year already. One of them was at a gas station. This is the second shooting at a gas station in the last several years where the police officers fired a gun. You're not supposed to use your cell phone, I think, in gas stations because it might ignite a spark. And 2 police officers have used their guns there now. And I was told by the training division that they don't describe specific backstops that police can't use. But the second shooting was a homeless man. And the police, and this is another thing you can do to build trust in the community, the police described a knife that was 10 inches long. Now to me that describes a knife that you can stick into a person in their front and it'll stick out their backside if they're less than 10 inches thick. But it's not, it's a 9-inch device with a 4-inch handle in the middle and 2.5-inch blades on either side. So when the police were putting out information about these things, they did almost the same thing with the X-Acto knife that a homeless man was holding in 2010 when he was killed, and said it was a 6-inch handle. But it was an X-Acto knife with a blade this long. So if you want to build community trust, don't exaggerate the threat. Tell the truth, and please respect people's lives. And you're saying, somebody said that we're not listening to each other. I think we, especially, we at Portland Cop Watch say this all the time. We know the police want to go home safe at night. The community members want to go home safe at night too. Everybody gets to go home safe at night. That's the message.
We have any more speakers? Judge,
first, I want to say my wife is going to be very upset with me because she told me not to say anything. But after I heard the prosecutor, who I have great respect for, and I see Mr. Jay here and Senator Gordley and so many other wonderful folks who have diligently fought to bring people together, I'm compelled to make 2 critical points with a final analysis in less than 3 minutes. I heard reference Kendra James. I was Kendra James' public advocate. I heard reference about the Department of Justice Settlement Agreement. I was the researcher and public advocate of Dr. Haynes for 36 months on this project. Let me just say this, and I think that police officers are heroes. They keep our community safe and free from tyranny. I have a degree in criminal justice, and I believe that, and I studied under Dr. Moose. I believe that with all my heart. But the other context is that when the referee is gone, who calls the foul? We have a system that is broken. And Judge, I'm going to direct my comments directly to you, sir. Because black men, based on the criteria for that $1 million contract, did not make the cut to serve as a compliance officer. And your presence justifies this process. The mayor betrayed communities of color. Mr. Rosenbaum was not the finalist going to the city council for a final decision. There were 2 men, none of color, that went before the city council to determine who should get the job, and then the guy that didn't make the cut gets the $1 million contracts that gets to fly in, price that we can collect $20,000 plus a month. We have black men here who have worked to mediate conflicts with black folks and white folks. But I don't see the conflict at the community level. I see the conflict at the bureaucracy level, where it's not a representative bureaucracy. This $1 million contract to do this compliance, sir, should have went to a local person that's been on the front line for decades, like Abel Gordley, like Roy J., and like other white men who've worked together to create a shared community. So my question to you and Mr. Rosenbaum is that will you honor the city's aspirational WBMBE goal to make sure that women and people of color are part of this contract? And will you make sure the folks who are part of COAB get a stipend for giving their time over 10 hours, which is the requirement that is declared by the decree? So we're supposed to stick our necks out, work for free, and then allow white men to come in and get a $1 million contract when we've been building relationships, working hard for decades? You bring credibility to this. I was at the interview. Rosenbaum did not make the cut. The mayor gave him the contract. That should have went to a community leader. It should have went to a sergeant or a captain with the police department that was willing to take the heat to navigate and bring people together. But it went to someone that's not from this state. Because if it had gone to someone from the state, then there wouldn't have been any intellectual dishonesty in terms of putting it on the shelf. It wouldn't have been there. Because the context would have been drawn with that we are factions. And only justice can keep all of us reflective of a bureaucracy where we're all in this together. But the absence of having a person of color, there's not one person of color getting into that $1 million. Now, it's not just $1 million, it's also $75,000 per year to be able to what? Have lodging. So that makes it more than $1 million. What about the white man and the black man that's been working together to make a difference? Dr. King said psychological freedom confirms physical freedom. So I don't hear noise. I hear folks saying, I want to be free. I want to believe in our department. I want us to all work together. But when you have intellectual dishonesty done by those who are elected officials, then it must be called out. So today, I have two recommendations to the COAB committee. That you make sure that this man that got the $1 million turned in a timesheet to you. Because no black man can get $1 million and not sit up front and navigate and mediate the conflict and bring the community together. I saw Abel Gordley at the first meeting. There was COAB meetings fighting each other, suggesting, well, we need to do it this way, we need to do it this way. And then he sits there, and when Abel Gordley said, I need your help for guidance, he says, I'm not interested in this. Was sitting aside and giving $1 million contract to folks who've been fighting for decades. I'm not owned by the mayor, but there are issues. And I've been profiled, I've been targeted. I've carried public advocacy cases on behalf of families whose civil liberties and civil rights have been violated. But I still see officers as heroes. But this process about this $1 million contract, and nobody here getting any of the money, is not only an insult, but it's an insult to the courageous folks who are here today to give their position. My wife's going to be upset, so that's all I have to say.
There were a couple of issues brought up a little earlier. One of them was about somebody gets shot because they had a knife. If we're sitting on if I'm sitting on this side of the table and you're sitting on that side of the table, you can have a gun in your hand and I can have a knife in my hand, and I can guarantee you will die. But I may be shot, and you may not hit a vital organ. It only takes a split second to jump up and slice somebody's throat. A friend of mine, a very good friend of mine's son was shot several times by several police officers. But what led up to it, he was speeding down the highway and started to pull him over. And he had an incident before where the cops beat the shit out of him.
And so he said, I'll never be taken into police custody again. So he took off, high-speed chase. They did a pit maneuver, knocked him into a ditch. And when he came out of the car, he pulled a gun on the cops, and they opened up on him. The cops do not have the luxury of saying, well, is that a real gun, or is that a BB gun, or does he really intend to use it? You have a split second to decide what's going to happen. If somebody comes up and pulls a gun into your face, are you going to sit there and think, well, should I do anything, or are you going to defend yourself?
My name is Tom Steenson. I'm an alternate to the COAB board, and I was reluctant to speak tonight, but there's 2 or 3 things I want to address. The man whose wife didn't want him to speak was talking about the COAB and the contract being awarded to these people in Chicago. And I had concerns about it when it happened, and I want to share my experience as an alternate over the past 2 months. When the COAB began to meet, alternates were treated equally. We could sit at the table, we could speak, we could work on subcommittees. There were no restrictions on whether we could chair a subcommittee. We could do the hard work that needed to be done. I think it's fair to say that the COAB has decided that some of us, and I think I'm probably one of the targets, knows too much about the police department, is saying too much about the police department, is investigating too much, and wants to do too much. So I no longer, according to the COAB, can speak at the COAB meetings. I can't sit at the table like Senator Gordon. I now have to sit with the public. I don't get to speak, I don't get to participate anymore in the discussion or deliberations. It's true I can't vote, but I think I have something to offer. I also was chosen by the subcommittee on the use of force and compliance as the leader or the chair of the committee. The COAB now has said in another edict that alternates can't serve as leaders or chairs. He also has issued a statement saying that some subcommittees, and I suspect it's the use of force subcommittee, are acting outside the scope of their assignment. The settlement agreement is very broad, and I can guarantee you that we are not acting outside the scope of the agreement. And I can tell the Department of Justice in the city right now that the COAB, if it gets its way, is going to destroy the COAB and reduce the independence it's supposed to have and the ability the COAB is supposed to have to talk to the community and make tough recommendations and investigate the police department, see whether they're complying.
Thank you.
Hello again, my name is Christy Jameson, an ambiguous COAB member, ambiguous status, I should say. I just want to thank everybody for enduring tonight and always, because we're all enduring a lot, and it didn't start tonight. But I want to remind everyone that what the findings were in the Department of Justice, what the findings were about persons with mental illness that were perceived excessive use of force against persons with perceived mental illness or actual mental illness. Mental illness is affected by persons that are red, white, brown, black, yellow, blue. It's everyone is affected by mental illness, stress, can end up in crisis at any time. And what I'd really love to see is for us to help the police department as a collaborative community that I know that we are, to help them learn our language so they know how to understand what it's like to be in crisis from our own individual community perspective, from our own personal cultural perspectives, to understand that when we perceive authority differently, when we're managing in different states. So I really want to make sure that that stays on the table, because was not hearing a lot about on behalf of the mental health community tonight, but you know, let's be realistic about not the real findings. There's a lot of findings, but that was the main finding, and that wasn't created out of whole cloth. I also want to recognize the Department of Justice for taking the time to continue to be a part of this process. We do have a representative, if you want to raise your hand, tonight here from the Department of Justice, and that's really important because obviously they could have just dropped off the settlement agreement and, you know, and just sort of not been a part of this, but they continue to show up and want to hear, so I think that's important.
So I would like to let you guys know that after the meeting, the Aztec dancers have come to perform a blessing ritual to bless this whole endeavor. And so we have the gym until 9, so they're just going to do a nice little half-an-hour thing. If you guys can help us click chairs afterwards, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Justice Dominguez. I do want to, I spoke earlier after the retired district attorney had pointed out that the reason we're here is there's clear findings by professionals that our police department is misserving the populace. And they got up for an hour and they didn't say sorry, they just did a song and dance about, we're wonderful, we're better. That's not the path to healing. We had a gentleman from Parks and Recreation come up and talk about Holiday Park. Well, Holiday Park gets talked about at City Council when I'm there. And what we know is that they gave Holiday Park had a program last year that was financed by just one business in the Lloyd district. So people, in addition to coming out here and advocating and telling the police they need to apologize and they need to talk how they're going to do better, they don't need to say, we give out food boxes through the Sunshine Division. Well, that's great. What do you do? When you shoot somebody, do you give them an extra can of beans? So we don't need a song and dance with two people from the Crime Commission getting to the head of the line. I'm not saying they cheated. I'm saying they told their bosses and their boards that they're going to come early and leave early. So I wish they were here to respond. So I just want to thank all the citizens, and as the gentleman who spoke against his wife Swishus pointed out, the volunteer members of the COAB. I love former Chief Justice Dominguez, but he gets remuneration for being here. None of the volunteer and alternate COAB people do. So please be sure to thank the COAB people, and the best way to thank the COAB people is to talk about how you can partner with them in this important work. Thank you.
I wanted to address a few comments, and as part of the COAB team, I know that we weren't necessarily the first choice, and we have a lot of work to do to earn the community's trust and to work with them. And I think there's been a lot of different emails and different messages going back and forth, some of it accurate, some of it not. I also want to respond to the man whose wife, who didn't want to talk. I am an equal partner in Rosenbaum and Watson, and the last time I checked, I did not own a penis. So there are women that are part of this contract.
So I want to conclude this by, again, where's the young man who talked about the dancers? Oh, they're here. Okay, good. So I think they can perform in front, knowing we have to be out by 9 o'clock. So but we want to hear them. I want to reiterate and thank you. The COAB is here because of the settlement agreement. The settlement agreement found a pattern and practice of excessive use of force. That's an amazing finding for them to have. That's why we were here, and that's why we will continue this work. I want to thank the members of the public who were here. I want to thank the members of the public for here. I want to thank you for your bravery. I know the pain that many of you have experienced in getting here tonight was something that I certainly felt, and I speak for the other COAB members about this. Everything we did here will be recorded. There'll be a report issue that will be provided to the police. Now, I was given this to read this announcement. The Aztec dancers will send the souls